Thank you for joining us on Nationwide. We apologize for starting late due to NAFEST Edo 2019, but I will say it is a beautiful display of our cultural heritage. But let's begin with the news. I'm Ruth Aguela. President Muhammadu Buhari has left Abuja for Sochi, Russian Federation ahead of the three-day Russia-Africa summit. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the president was sent off at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by the Minister of the FCT, Mohammed Musa Bello, his Chief of Air Staff, Abba Kyari, Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, and other senior government officials, accompanied by the governors of Ekiti, Gombe, and Zamfara states. The president is expected to join other African leaders at the summit, focusing on exploring and expanding opportunities in security, trade and investment, science and technology, as well as gas production. During the summit, President Buhari will hold bilateral discussions with President Vladimir Putin of Russia to further strengthen relations in security, trade and investment, and building partnership that will enhance Nigeria's huge gas potential. As African Business Forum, which will bring together African and Russian business leaders, will also be held towards enhancing Russian investments in Africa and promote African business interests in the Russian Federation. And back home on the Judiciary, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has granted the request of the convener of Revolution Now protest, Omoyele Sowore, that the bail conditions imposed on him should be varied. Now, this follows his inability to meet the conditions of his bail. Let's hear from Olabode Arewa.
Taking a cue from the recent ruling by a Federal High Court in Abuja, with varied bail conditions earlier imposed on a detained journalist, Mr. Jones Abiri, Mr. Femi Falana, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, who is the counsel to Omoyele Sowore and Olawale Bakare, told the court that his clients have not been able to fulfill the bail conditions. Falana argued that Sowore and Bakare's livelihoods were in jeopardy due to their continued detention. Counsel to the DSS, Azan Liman, SAN, however, argued that there were no compelling reasons to ask for bail variation. Relying on the case of Asari Dokubo versus the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Liman argued that the freedom of speech and the freedom of association being touted by Sowore were not superior to national security. In consideration of the discretionary powers of the court, the presiding judge, Justice Ijoma Ojukwu, vacated the requirement for Sowore's sureties to deposit 50 million naira with the court registry. The court also reduced Bakare's bail to 20 million naira.
Neither of them is now required to get a surety to deposit money in line with the decisions of higher courts.
The initial deposit of 50 million naira shall no longer be paid, but they shall execute security for bond.
Omoyele Sowore and Olawale Bakare were arraigned by the DSS on charges of treasonable felony and causing insult to the president. The case is adjourned to the 6th and 7th of November for accelerated hearing. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
In other news, Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation is sustaining partnerships with relevant groups towards realization of the key components of the civil service strategies and implementation plan. Now, in furtherance of these objectives, members of the National Council on Establishment are participating in a special capacity building program facilitated by the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management in Abuja. Let's hear from Kelvin.
A sign of familiarity and friendship between the Office of the Head of Civil Service and the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management. Now, that is being taken further to a partnership that will improve human resource as a critical element in driving development. Constant evaluation and evolving new strategies are what the acting head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Dr. Folashade Yebieson, wants to stress in the implementation of ongoing reforms in the civil service.
There's a change. Civil servants should try to understand the end result of that change process and key into it.
So our collaboration is to help to accelerate the change, to drive the belief.
For members of the National Council on Establishment, made up of state heads of service and permanent secretaries, the take-home message is pursuance of professionalism in state's workforce.
We are here to hear more about new innovations, so as to know where we are lacking.
As we emphasize on professionalism here, we hope to get back and also re-emphasize that in Akwa Ibom State.
Elder statesman Dr. Christopher Kolade may be old, but his invaluable insights into managing personnel for nation building came in handy for participants through video conferencing. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
And on the legislature, the National Assembly is the source for additional sources of funding the nation's armed forces. The Chairman Senate Committee on Defense, Senator Ali Ndume, and his counterpart, Chairman House Committee on Army, Abdulrazak Namadas, gave the hint in an interview with journalists shortly after passing parade of the 78 regular recruits intake of the Nigerian Army Depot Zaria, Kaduna State. In view of prevailing security challenges, the legislators promised to review and increase the 100 billion naira earmarked for defense in 2020 budget proposal submitted to the National Assembly by President Muhammadu Buhari.
That is not enough, and we are looking at it deeply, and we have some window. We are going to do something, despite the fact that the resources are scarce.
The armed forces cannot just be adequately financed just by mere budgets. We have to look beyond the budgets to see how they could be financed to enable also. So that motion has been taken, and we are looking into it. But especially even after the budget, we look at special funding for the armed forces generally.
And still on budget defense, actual progress in the construction of the 40-year-old Mambila hydroelectric power project in Nigeria has only been witnessed under the President Buhari's administration. Now, this is part of the submission by Minister of Power Saleh Mamman on the status of various power projects in the country at the budget defense before the House Committee on Power. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu reports.
Discussions were on utilization of 8.5 billion naira released out of the 2019 appropriation of about 12.5 billion naira to the Federal Ministry of Power. The ministry's 2020 budget estimate of 127 billion naira is the second largest budget proposal by President Buhari. Minister of Power Saleh Mamman told the members that the proposed figure will be utilized for execution of projects of maximum impact in line with the next level agenda.
From the generation, transmission and distribution, we are all improving. Right now, we have power on ground that we cannot transmit all, simply because we are on transmission rehabilitation. Once this is done, and we are going to give Nigeria the full supply of electricity.
The committee requested documents on contracts titles, locations, and their expected completion dates for proper legislative oversight.
Nigeria has interest. President Muhammadu Buhari has interest on this Mambila project, and we have to be able to achieve it within these next 4 years.
In the ministry's documents, Kashimbila project is ready for commissioning, while Zungeru hydroelectric power project is also progressing towards completion with an estimated commissioning date of December 2020. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
And talking security now, Musa Arabo, abducted over the weekend, was on Sunday, 20th October, rescued on Hort. The officer was successfully rescued by a combined team of police operatives from Kaduna, Niger, and Zone 7 Command Headquarters, Abuja, backed up by members of the elite special forces of the Niger Police Force. In a statement by DCP Frank Mbab, Force Public Relations Officer says 2 suspects have been arrested in connection with the incident, and investigation into the incident is ongoing. And earlier in the day, we're joined by Omali Ben Amedu, a public affairs analyst who spoke on the alleged USSD bank services that mobile network operators are planning to charge subscribers. Let's see it.
Well, I will give it a tag as there is a total pilferage on Nigerians. because for everybody that does any electronic transfer or whatever transaction that is done, charges are deducted, and such charges can only be imagined, because you can never imagine. You cannot estimate whatever will be the outcome. It means they are already underrating Nigerian government. No matter the good works the government tries to put on ground, by doing this, it's total disregard of Nigerian laws and whatever is supposed to be put in practice for the economy to grow well. And that means it has gone beyond the level of warning at this time. There should be outright punishment to them, because in law, what you regard as a lack of knowledge is what Nigerians call ignorance. Ignorance means it's from the word ignore. It means you deliberately refuse to obey the laws. That's what the communication outfits are doing. It's outright disregard of Nigerian policies.
Mr. Amedu Ben Omale there talking about the alleged USSD banking charges. All right, let's go on a break. Nationwide continues shortly, so stay with us.
The new edition of TV Guide is out, exclusively taking a look at the traditional television and new media. Are they comparable or complementary? Media industry players give perspective on the trends, progress, challenges, and the way forward. Find out on this compelling edition of TV Guide. Expository interviews with stars of the team within our space. Becky Madojemo of NTA, Utibe Umore of AIT, Nifemi Oguntai of TVC, and a host of others. TV Guide, your indispensable companion. Also feature Ya Medina.
Achieving zero hunger in the country, games, challenges and prospects is the focus this week on NTA Tuesday Live. The program at 10:30 p.m. this Tuesday promises to be incisive and informative. Don't miss it.
I'm the CEO, managing director of Medina Sister Restaurant. I used to serve. Shut up your mouth. Let me finish.
A TV drama series on NTA. Let's get to meet the characters behind Ya Medina. This edition also presents exciting features on tourism, culture, entertainment, sports, health, and lots more. Grab a copy at the vendors near you or any NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
Nigeria Diaspora Investment Summit 2019 holds on the 6th to the 8th of November 2019. The summit will take place at the Banquet Hall Presidential Villa, Abuja, Nigeria. Theme: leveraging diaspora resources for economic growth. Sectors: agribusiness, education, training, healthcare, entertainment, sports, hospitality and tourism, infrastructure and real estate, manufacturing, extractive industries, telecommunications, technology and innovation, waste management and environmental remediation, transportation. For registration, visit www.ndis.gov.ng. For participation and sponsorship, please call 090-177-77008, 0817-2244-660. Convened by the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission.
An award that has succeeded to pool a galaxy of stars from the north, south, east to the west, and central Africa, and also those that are domiciled beyond the shores of Africa under one roof.
Thanks for staying tuned. And it's time we join Dotun Ogunyemina, Lagos Network Center, for more reports. Dotun, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. And welcome to Lagos, where we begin with the power sector. The Senate Committee on Power has directed the management of the Transmission Company of Nigeria to present the specifications of the helicopters needed to enhance its operations. Leader of the committee, Senator Yusuf Abubakar, gave the directive after an inspection of TCN's grounded helicopters proposed for sale in Lagos. Howard Yusuf Jibo reports.
The Senate Committee on Power expressed displeasure over the state of the 4 helicopters which have been abandoned for years. Senator Yusuf Abubakar and his team, after a series of discussion with the management of TCN on the helicopters, say previous costing of the helicopters will be subjected to review by the committee for proper value of each of them.
Well, you see, we are in the next level, as we call it, and these assets, that if we are going to have new ones, I'm sure they will be, fairer, better used, more defined, more modern. And I think, with the commercialized nature of the TCN now, they should be able to put commercial use as to these aircrafts.
Regional Manager TCN Lagos, Lamina Adebola, disclosed that the helicopters have been banned from the airspace. He said the best option was to put them in the market.
In those days past, whenever we have problem with the lines, to make the job very fast so that we can restore the line at a very record time, we make use of the helicopter to do patrol, mostly in dangerous and area that you cannot really access easily.
While 2 of the helicopters, according to the management of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, can be refurbished, the other 2 are no longer serviceable. In Lagos, Awol Yusuf Jibo, NTA News.
And away from legislative oversight functions, the history of slave trade in Nigeria has been told many times over, but telling this story cannot be compared to its experience. The Chairman, Chief Executive Officer, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabri Erewa, says organizing the Badagri Diaspora Festival is a way of showcasing the untapped opportunities that abound in Nigeria to the world. In a pilgrimage to the motherland, the journey can only be described as an experience of a lifetime. Walking the slave routes to the point of no return and seeing other relics of the slave trade era, from cannons, slave cells, and a visit to the Akran or Badagri. These diasporans have literally imprinted their feet on African soil, thereafter walking through the door of return. This symbolic walk was part of activities for the 2019 Diaspora Festival, Badagri. The motive of the Diaspora Commission is to show the world the limitless opportunities in Nigeria, its beauty, and the warmth of its people.
And one of the ways to get it done is working with any African, wherever you are in the world. If you don't get involved in developing Africa, then the world will still look down on you. I think that is what I saw here. And that is why I'm glad that our brothers and sisters from the diaspora are coming here. And as they are coming here, they are being led to what they can do in and for Africa, in particular in Nigeria here. It's a land of opportunities.
Dr. David Anderson, who is the leader of the group, says the identity crisis faced by Black Americans and others around the world can be resolved by tracing their roots.
I keep coming back because it inspires me, and I keep bringing other people back so it can inspire them and educate them so we can build bridges of reconciliation between the continent and the diaspora.
I discover a little bit more of who I am, and it's just awesome. I just love the culture, I love the dress, I love the food, I love the people.
The message by the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, as it opens the door of return for the 3rd time, is for the world to come to Nigeria and experience history undiluted in Lagos. On to health matters, medical experts are advocating regular medical checkup and healthy lifestyle as part of measures to prevent and reduce deaths from cancer and other related diseases. This was at a cancer awareness program in Lagos, a non-governmental organization in collaboration with the Office of the Wife of the Niger State Governor. Apolore Obara reports.
In a bid to reach out to Nigerians in the fight against cancer, Wife of Niger State Governor Dr. Amina Abubakar Bello said cancer care and the country needs concerted efforts of key players in the health sector. She emphasized that the cancer awareness program will ensure that women in Nigeria with cancer will be properly diagnosed and treated.
Cancer is a disease that, if caught early, can be cured. But most cases here in our country, cases are diagnosed late. Mostly because people are ignorant about it, they have misconceptions about what the disease is, and so they don't present themselves early to the hospital.
Nigerians, to the detriment of their health, they neglect medical advice and they listen more to their religious leader.
Other medical practitioners also took out time to sensitize Nigerians on the life-threatening disease.
If a patient presents to the hospital early enough, the patient can have curative treatment. In a nutshell, you spend a little money and you get cured for the treatment.
One, there are certain cancers that we can prevent by just giving vaccination. Then there are other cancers we can cure if we pick them up early.
While maintaining that cancer has no known cause, the medical experts, however, warned against reckless lifestyles such as excessive alcohol consumption and smoking. In Lagos, Abolore Gbara, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Lagos. Nationwide continues with Root in Abuja.
Thank you, Dotun, and welcome back to Abuja. But let's take you to Washington, D.C., where to ensure effective implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, African countries must address corruption and abuse of power in the security sector, as they could impede and raise the cost of trade. General William Ward, former commander of the United States Africa Command, said this in Washington, D.C., while delivering the third Barker Ndai lecture. Leah Katumbaba today has the details.
Barker Ndai was the 5th elected president of the African Development Bank, who put in place various structural initiatives and institutions to boost the development of Africa. The lecture series in his honor is now a side event of the annual meetings of the World Bank Group and the International Monetary Fund. In making the AFCFTA succeed, General William Ward said that corruption and abuse of power in the security sector could become significant non-tariff barriers to trade, calling for a continental approach to reforming the security framework, particularly respect for the rule of law, and recommended regional approaches to dispute settlements.
African governments should work to strengthen these governance systems individually and collectively to support security and development. The effectiveness of this was demonstrated in West Africa when the Economic Community of West African States successfully launched a military intervention to resolve a breakdown of internal order in the government of the Gambia that resulted from a dispute over the country's presidency.
The African Continental Free Trade Agreement will add impetus to the process of development we've alluded to. It holds tremendous potential for further enhancing Africa's effective integration into the global economy as a globally competitive player. Nonetheless, and notwithstanding all these successes, recent geopolitical tensions pose important downside risks to the continent's economic progress.
Ensuring the quality of goods traded under the AFCFTA was identified as key index for reducing tensions, with a call on African leaders to project the continent positively, as negative perceptions raised costs and undermined prospects for long-term investments and regional integration. From Washington, D.C., Leah Katung-Baba today, NTA News.
Still staying in Washington, D.C., the President African Development Bank has reiterated the need for African countries to work assiduously in ensuring the success of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. Chimopi Walter Nanje reports that he made this known in Washington, D.C. on the sidelines of the just concluded annual meetings of the World Bank and IMF.
With over 700 million young people, Africa is said to be one of the fastest growing economies. However, this number also poses a threat of non-performing workforce. The African Development Bank says it is already investing in universities of science and technology and centers of excellence to prepare Africa for the challenges of the fourth industrial revolution and equip financial institutions to offer the needed funds to empower the younger generation of Africans.
So Africa must prepare people, yes, young people, for the jobs of the future, not the jobs of the past. And so when we take a look at universities, what do we find? We find that no more than 2 to 3% of universities have people that are in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
The $200 million Boost Africa Fund, he explained, will support early-stage growth of businesses in Africa, but he believes the stimulation of the creation of Youth Entrepreneurship and Investment Bank to ensure the successes of the Africa Intercontinental Free Trade Agreement.
We say that all of our projects, we want them to be mainstream to create jobs for young people and women, by the way. Right. So, and in the case of women, we have something that we call a gender marker system, where every single one of our projects are tagged.
Other efforts, including the establishment of the Women Financing Index for Africa, will help bridge the gender gap in Africa. In Washington, D.C., I'm Chimobi Walter Naji, NTA News.
And away from financial matters, back home, the third quarter Chief of the Air Staff Conference has commenced in Abuja with a pledge to employ more indigenous technology in Nigerian Air Force operations. Correspondent Najatu Tijani has the details.
Lovett Afuye and Oluwadansi Uluwaleye were among the not too brilliant students in mathematics selected to attend the 2 weeks mental arithmetic and mathematics improvement training and have now increased their knowledge in the subjects. While Lovett Afuye emerged the overall best participant in mathematics, mental arithmetics, and constant addition competition, 13-year-old Oluwadansi confirmed that he is now ready to teach others the subjects.
Again, the mental arithmetic can also be used as mathematics because it teaches somebody a lot of things.
Mathematics helps me to think mentally. It helps me to calculate addition and subtraction without using sticks.
Deputy Director, National Mathematical Center, Professor Peter Onumanyi, said the objectives of the program is to inculcate in the student the use of both right and left brains by adopting the abacus mental arithmetic to solve mathematical problems without using calculator or sticks.
An unintelligent child before 2 weeks ago can now just be using the two sides of the brain. If you see them, they were using the two hands to do the calculation.
Certificates were presented to students who excelled in the training, while the students demonstrated their mental alertness in solving problems through the use of abacus arithmetic methods. The 2-week workshop tagged 2019 NMC SDGs Mental Arithmetic and Mathematics Improvement Training was organized for Nigeria basic school students and teachers in Ado-Ekiti to increase the mental capacity of students in area of mathematical thoughts, skills, and basic computational operations in Ado-Ekiti. Yemi Dalemo, NTA News.
All right, we apologize for that mix-up there. That report was actually the National Mathematical Center training students in Ado-Ekiti. All right, let's go on a break. We'll be back. Stay tuned.
History was made in Africa with the birth of the first television station, WNTV, in Ibadan, Nigeria, on October 31, 1959.
I have great pleasure in formally launching Western Nigeria television first in Africa.
Television in Africa clocked 60 this year. It's time to celebrate this remarkable achievement. Various activities are lined up. Photo exhibition, a colloquium, public presentation of broadcasting books, and a gala night. Be part of these events, powered by Foundation for Ibadan Television Anniversary Celebrations, FITAC,
and supported by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Please.
course I did. That is village master tune.
So Auntie Amebo was not gossiping then?
Village master is celebrating 50 years.
50? Already?
Wait, you mean people have been watching Village Headmaster since 1968? How time flies. I have retired, but not tired.
And 50 years now. So because of that, we won't get big party.
New date, now 28th to 29th October 2019.
Now me, I'm a body invite you now, and my belly just is sweet. Because I don't say all those people they drink my party, then go come drink the tombo again. Now me, radio Jamebo, they call you now. They could not forget it.
Not so fast. Look, I'm tired. I want to check out of this country for greener pastures.
Just calm down for a moment. Please sit down.
Do you have a job where you're going to? No, but someone is arranging,
Listen, Alinko. Checking out of this country without proper planning means one thing. Unimaginable begin. You know, I've been in the diaspora, but legitimately doing great things at home and abroad. As I've been saying, without the proper footing abroad, the risk is not worth it. Listen, Alinko, it's better to be home than be trapped abroad or even end up in prison.
Thanks for being there. The National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Other Internally Displaced Persons is attending to some of the needs of the internally displaced persons in Abuja. Ufan Shaji reports that the Federal Commissioner Bashir Garba Mohammed visited the IDP camp to assess the living condition of the displaced persons.
A temporary shelter providing succor to the helpless and now home to hundreds. This is the Durumi Abuja camp for internally displaced persons who mostly fled attacks by insurgent groups on communities in northeast Nigeria. And as the fight lingers in the northeast, so also does their stay in this camp. With each passing day comes an increase in population and a corresponding rise in the demand for basic necessities. This female resident, Hanatu, would prefer a better living environment for occupants of the camp. She has apparently thought about a few things to make life here bearable and hopes for an improvement in hygiene and formal education.
We want school and want water and want let them change this environment for us.
It would seem that Hanetu isn't the only one worried about life within the Durumi displaced persons camp. The Federal Commissioner, National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Other Internally Displaced Persons, Bashir Garba Mohammed, was at the camp to inspect facilities and gauge for himself the daily struggle of residents at the camp. He commented on issues bothering on security and health care, and assured the residents of government's commitment to improving the quality of life in the displaced persons camp.
So what are your challenges?
He also took time to celebrate with children whose birth month is October. In Abuja, Gufan Shaji, NTA News.
And in Yola, in its continued efforts in bringing succor to victims of insurgency in the northeast, 2,000 women in Gombe local government area of Adamawa State are set to benefit from 50,000 naira each, being cash intervention under the Women Economic Empowerment Program of the Victim Support Fund. Simon Asher reports that 49 pupils from Adamawa, Borno and Yobe states also received education materials and training for 1,000 teachers across the 3 states as part of the fund's education project.
It is no longer news that normalcy has returned in most communities bedeviled by Boko Haram insurgents over the years, but its adverse effect on women and the educational sector in the northeast has continued to linger, hence the need to support and facilitate access to learning of pupils and empowering women remain imperative.
Flagging off.
This informed the 2019 official flag-off of Women Economic Empowerment Project in Ganda Village of Adamawa State, an education support project in Askara Uba, Borno State, so as to strengthen the capacity of education in the Northeast and women who are economically active and have skills that can be translated to income generation for the socio-economic well-being of the society.
The money will be paid in 2 tranches. We are going to transfer 30,000 first and see how you begin to work with it and come to assess your business, and where you perform well, you will get the balance of your money.
The executive secretary further said, out of the 1,000 teachers and 49,000 students to be trained and supported in the Northeast, 19,000 students with 400 teachers will be taken from Askra Uba local government area alone, being one of the most hit local government area during the insurgency. Representative of the chairman, Presidential Committee on Victim Support Fund, Al-Qasim Abdul Kadir, and governors of Adamawa and Borno states, among other dignitaries, urged the beneficiaries to use the items for the purpose intended. In Yola, Simon Asher, NTA.
And talking sports, Nigeria's senior men's national team, the Yellow Greens, is playing her second match against Canada at the ongoing T20 Cricket Championship in Abu Dhabi. Gift George has this and more on our sports update.
Nigeria played their first match against Jersey on Saturday and lost by 69 runs. Nigeria and Canada match is ongoing at Abu Dhabi. University of Ilorin on Saturday beat Nuba Mali Polytechnic Zaria to emerge champion by a lone goal scored at the 5th minute of the final match. For coming first, the Unilorin boys got a cash reward of ₦1 million as the current champion, while the runners-up, Nuba Mali Polytechnic, went home with 750,000 naira.
The initiative to promote national integration and unity is sports. We have used this opportunity to bring all the tertiary institutions together.
About 400 students in Lagos participated in a week-long tennis clinic, which held in various schools and the National Stadium. The program, which was at the instance of an American-based tennis academy in partnership with the International Tennis Academy, focused on introducing the game to about 1,000 children.
Here in Nigeria, we feel that we have